Make me a pallet on your floor. Lay it right down by the door. Make it soft, low, so my good gal won't know. Make me a pallet on the floor. Some old woman in this town been telling lies on me. Some old woman in this town been telling awful lies on me. Angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. Angels laid him 6 feet under clay. Angels laid him away. Make me a pallet on your floor. Lay it right down by the door. Make it soft, low, so my good gal won't know. Make me a pallet on your floor. Make it soft, low, so my good little gal will never know. Make me a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor.
And that was Beaucoup Blues, and they are here live on Fiddles and Frets, and the members of the group are Adrian and David Mowry. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Good to be here.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your style of music. You're from Philadelphia, and a little bit about your influences also.
Well, they kind of are culled from far and wide, actually, because I started out in the big folk music scare of the 60s, so it was all coming through right around that time. And
I started out in a big grunge scare in the 80s.
Yes, so it all comes in, all figures in there. But
so from two different points.
Definitely, the blues figured mightily. All of the early Chicago and Mississippi Delta men, too numerous to mention here, at least in one sitting, and any number of the folk artists that were seminal, and everybody since then. But we're definitely a roots Americana, blues tinged sound, I would say. That if I had to put a coin on it myself, I would put that one on there.
And I understand you were around the folk scare in the early 60s.
Yes, that's right. Yep. That was, that was kind of like the seminal time for music to get into the hands of individual songwriters, for popular music to do that, who performed their own material. And it pretty much started in that era.
I was going to say that was pretty new.
Pardon?
That was a pretty new thing, and different than a Tin Pan Alley kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a whole other nuther. it was really pretty democratic. I mean, it was our way of getting a hold of the music. I don't even know if we had thought of it that way. It was just a matter of that was what was happening. People who had more foresight and were more politically motivated than I may have thought that way. But I just kind of I thought it had always been here. What did I know? I just came in and, was really grateful to find something that I could, be a part of. And, now it looks like we need the folk music scare all over again. I mean, right?
Exactly. I want to ask, by the way, I don't think I mentioned that you guys are father and son. David's the father. Adrian is the son. Being from the next generation, in terms of your influences and how it ties together with this music, how would you describe that?
Well, I came from listening to rock and roll first. I come from a rock and roll background and kind of work backwards actually, or sideways. I don't know how you would put it, but I was influenced by a lot of his record collection. When I was little, just grabbing stuff out and just putting it on and learning about folks, second, third hand, that like Greenwich Village scene, Dave Von Ronk and Richie Havens and Dylan, of course, everybody knows him. And
John Hammond.
John Hammond, right? And
Paul Jeremiah.
Yeah, all those folks. But
yep.
So, I don't know. I mean, I've just always something there gravitated. I gravitated to something I heard in all these characters.
What's been interesting to me doing these interviews over the last couple of years is some of the really young performers that I've interviewed, for example, from Philly, like Carsey Blanton and Liz Longley, and others who, I'm like your dad, I'm from the 60s, and influenced by that music. And they are too because of their parents' records. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of coming around.
Yes.
The circle again. Yeah,
it's kind of like I mean, in many ways, it's the big hope that people would pick up on this because it's just it's a little like Mom and Pop's. It's the musical version of Mom and Pop's grocery store on Main Street. That the big conglomerates, are and that way of thinking, which is almost like no thinking at all. Forgive me for getting deep into this, but I can't help myself. Is threatening to, wipe out Main Street. In fact, in many instances, has already done so quite astonishingly. And so too the music industry, which kind of, wants to get a hold of something it can kind of control and market easily, very much like McDonald's. And, not to, it's fortunate that there are some people who are coming through and still holding this up, and hopefully there'll be more, and it will be something that continues because it's a really human interaction. Whereas I'm not quite sure about all the rest of that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to hear another song, but before we do, talk about the instruments you guys are playing now. Adrian has but an acoustic guitar. And David, you have, I guess, a resonator. Is that correct?
Resonator, yes. That is the most regular because it is the working man's Gibson that Adrian.
It's a Gibson, yeah.
J45 working man's Gibson, totally regular guitar. And this is really not an old instrument that I have here. This resonator. It's made by Dobro, which is, I believe, owned by Gibson at this time, and it's about maybe 12 years old, but it harkens back to earlier time.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, let's hear another tune here.
All right.
This is called I Surrender.
A little protest.
I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield, kneel right down in this bloody field, wear my neck up the arrowing blade. Let the best man win, I ain't afraid. While I'm beaten, battered, and torn in two, in this world of winners don't care if I lose. Here's to the victor and spoils of war. He'll grab the brass ring and bust down the door. Well, I surrender. What the Christian word is crusade and Muslim jihad. Oh, Joshua fit the battle with the staff and the rod, the right on the mighty, the misery of the weak. Amid the ranting of fools, the wise can't speak. And I surrender. Where the story of religion's been as gory as hell, freedom slips away to the crack in the bell. All the town fathers sitting drunk in the sun, playing Russian roulette with a Gatling gun. Now I make my peace with God in me, unclench my fist with my heart in hand, finger to my lips, my eye on the sparrow, let go with both hands this vision of sorrow, and I surrender.
And that was original song?
Yes.
Do you do a lot of originals, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we do.
And while we're talking about that, maybe you could just say a little bit about your songwriting. Adrian, do you also do the songwriting? Just talk a little bit about your songwriting technique. And I always like to ask if you had 30 seconds to tell an up-and-coming songwriter how to write a good song. I'll even give you a minute. What would you say?
Oh. Well, I follow the music, essentially. And usually and I find that it's true with many songwriters that are kind of out of an emotional, some kind of a musical form. There'll be, you may have some small thing, some small phrase, and that you start with that. And then you allow the rest of it to build. I mean, somebody asked me, this may take a little more than 30 seconds. I remember that.
Time's up. No.
Yeah. Bring. There's the buzzer. I think Nora Jones was once asked to explain a song. I saw the show. She was on the early show, and someone asked her to explain what the song was. And she said, well, I'm not going to do that because I think that's your job. You explain it. You explain it. And often enough, I feel, I don't know what a song is until I've been performing it for a while. But so sometimes there's a certain amount of, I mean, there's a certain amount of automatic that goes on there. People who can really calculate what they want to say, I admire that because I'm not one of those people. I have to, it's kind of has to come through, and then I'll steer it some small way. But if it isn't there, kind of almost in its, it's kind of a classic thing where it kind of comes out of you. And I mean, I think somebody asked Bob Dylan, about writing "Blowing in the Wind," and he simply turned to them and said, "I didn't write that song." He says, "You try it. It's hard."
Yeah. I guess you also had just try to have to be as honest as you can with it. Sometimes you especially with lyrics, sometimes you feel like you might be revealing a little bit too much about yourself or feel a bit guarded, and you kind of have to let go of that. And a lot of times that's a sign of a good song when you can do that.
I was looking at some of the places that you've played, I guess, over the years, and just want to mention a few of them. Philadelphia Folk Festival, the Tin Angel, which is a major acoustic venue in Philly, Summerfest in Massachusetts, the King Biscuit Blues Festival, Arizona, and what is some of the other, North Carolina, the Sawbriar, and the Charlie Pool Festival. That must be an interesting one.
Charlie Pool's great. Yeah. That's such. Do you know about Charlie?
A little bit, not a lot, but I recognize his name.
Yeah. Well, he wrote an awful lot of stuff. He was one of the first. They call him the first superstar in a way because he was out and about with his band in the 1920s on the vaudeville circuit, and all the way up before Bill Monroe or any of these guys, got a hold of them. Charlie Poole was actually out and about. He was a.
You know where I heard his song? Jerry Jeff Walker has a song, and he mentions him in the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Charlie, I mean, he's written a lot.
And you played in New York, D.C., the Blues Alley, and it goes on and on. What are some of the places that you're planning to perform the next, let's say, month or so?
Okay, well, we're going to be up in, we'll be at the World Cafe. That's Saturday the 16th. That's in Philadelphia. And then we're going to be, where are we going? We're going to Memphis for the International Folk Alliance down there, doing some showcases. We're off to Pittsburgh and Michigan, and then down to North Carolina in March.
Virginia, back in Virginia,
yep.
Back up to Virginia.
Syracuse, in a couple of weeks we'll be up in Syracuse at Westcott Community Center there.
We're going to Brattleboro shortly.
Yeah.
Day after tomorrow.
This might be a good time to mention your website so people can see where, specifically when and where you're playing.
Yeah. Well, we have our itineraries on BeaucoupBlue.com. That's, let me see if I can spell this right. BeaucoupBlue.com. We also have a MySpace page, and we list all our itinerary on there.
Okay, I think it's time for another song here.
Sure, sounds good.
This is a new one that's going to be on our new album that we're slated to release in late spring, early summer. It's called Running Out the Door.
Oh, this hardship. Oh, if I could ring this bell around your heart to let you know love is always running out the door. I believe
if I run a foolish race? I wasted time at a breakneck pace. I heard a man can change right before his death. Just put it off till his last breath. You're a little rough around the edge. Rye whiskey and cigarettes you cry. There's a saint in every barroom from here to Clarksdale. There's a star for every loser in the sky. Whoa, this heart and shell. Whoa, if I could ring this bell around your heart to let you know love is always running out the door. Love is always running out the door. Love is always running out the door. Love is always running out the door.
That's a beautiful song and nice harmonies. Is that a co-written song or?
No.
Adrian wrote the song. Very, very nice. You got 2 CDs here, and first of all, I wanted to say they're extremely attractive. You know, a lot of independent, at least independent songwriters, some that I know, you know, their creativity goes not beyond. There they are holding the guitar next to the tree. Because part of this whole thing, you know, even folk music and Americana is marketing.
Yes.
And these are very attractive, and not only that, they're consistent. There's a consistency between 1 and 2, and they're like a couple years apart.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Why don't you mention? I'll let you mention the names of the CD, and also how can people get them.
Well, our first CD is Out of the Woodwork. And our latest one is Hearts at Home. They can both be bought at cdbaby.net, and also on iTunes. You can download both of those, and you can just get them online there. That's the easiest way. Or come to one of our shows and get one too.
There it is.
That's the best way.
Then you get all the money. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I want to have you guys do a couple more songs, so I'm going to have you do one now, and we're going to come back for kind of a wrap-up, and then have you go out on a tune.
Okay. This is an old George Romali tune. George Romali was a part of the Holy Modal Rounders.
And we rearranged his arrangement.
I should say George Robin Romali, I believe he was known as Robin, and this was made a hit, actually, of a folk hit back in the 60s by Jesse Colin Young, but we took it and twisted it a little bit. Forgive us, everyone. We were 4 a.m.
don't worry, baby, she's just left town. Flat out on my back, just ain't nothing to drink. Empty bottles on the floor, dirty dishes in the sink. 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and that water keeps pouring down. When I'm flat on my back, the sun ain't gonna shine. I had to leave the girl, she wouldn't quit her line. And I saw that girl, she took back all she said. It don't make no difference, I shot them both in bed. 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and that water keeps pouring down. Jimmy Joe with legs and knees all bandaged up. Why he came asking me for money, people, and all I had was a buck. Seen a cockroach crawling, crawling in a old bean can. She said, now when your baby's left armpit, it's tough, it's just tough to be a man. 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and that water keeps pouring down. 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and that water keeps pouring down, and that water keeps pouring down, and that water keeps pouring down, and that water keeps pouring down.
And we've been listening today to Beaucoup Blue, and that's David and Adrian Mowry, father and son duo. And I have to come out and see you guys. You guys are great. Again, why don't you guys give us your website, and people can buy your CDs, which are great, and also see where you're going to be playing.
Our website is BeaucoupBlue.com. That's BeaucoupBlue.com. We have our itinerary up there for a few months at a time. You can get our CDs at cdbaby.com, or on iTunes. You can download them there. And I guess the next, we're going to be up and down the East Coast for, the whole summer and spring and the rest of the winter. So just look on our itinerary there, and you can catch us somewhere.
I'm going to have you guys go out on a song, but I really wanted to thank you very much for coming on Fiddles and Frets here. And your music's great, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, what you going to leave us with?
What do you want to do?
It's up to you. What do you think? See how I passed the buck there?
Okay, now a little earlier on, Ray, you mentioned the King Biscuit Blues Festival, and actually, I think you mentioned Arizona with it, but actually it's Helena, Arkansas is where it's located, and this song is about our going south for the first time right after 9/11, and it was kind of a tough road. It was we didn't know whether we wanted to do it or not, but we were booked to go down, so we went. And it was really an amazing experience, there's no question. And this song somewhat documents it a little bit. And it's going to be off of our upcoming CD. And it's entitled Delta Rain.
After the towers came down in 2001, I went down to Arkansas while the whole world came undone. Straight down to Memphis, down Highway 61. King Biscuit bound, my friend Adrian, my good son. Rolling south beneath the cloudless, quiet blue sky. Cotton bales big as buses off in the field by the roadside. Chasing the blues in the land of sunny boy and sunny pain. We caught them down in Helena, we're down over Delta Rain. Delta Rain, wash these blues away. The dust of Armageddon is blowing away. Every down the tears of the troopers made. Welcome to your Yankees, need a helping hand. Well, the blues festival's just a way to celebrate the sad. Get your feelings up and out before they turn your inside back. What better thing to do when your world's in an uproar? Sing your broken heart, bring up a world war. Down in the scrum with everyone clapping their hands, stomping their feet. Sweet Walter in his whiskey breath, just wandering out in the crowd. Harry standing in the arc of blue where he's yelling out loud. Till the rain wash these blues away. The dust of Armageddon is blowing away. And they down the tears of a true blues man. All God's children got trouble in the promised land. Till the rain wash these blues away. Till the rain wash these blues away. Till the